Hi, everybody. My name is Arik, and welcome to the new moon in Aquarius. This is a very auspicious new moon because it is also connected to another system of astrology that's used in the East, Chinese, Tibetan, or what's also called the Lunar New Year. And I'm going to do a separate event on that. You can check that out. It's going to happen on the 9th of February. So there's a lot to talk about there, but it's always coinciding with the new moon in Aquarius in the Western system. And there are different systems to astrology, just like there's different systems to nature. There's different systems for everything. And I'm going to talk about that and what are these different systems and what are these laws and where do they take us? So there's a lot to cover. I'm really excited about it. Now, there is so much power with the new moon in Aquarius. I've shared this before, but I've often used this new moon of Aquarius, which is an archetype of wishes and things like that, to really take some power to overcome stuff. I was able to break addictions and also launch really cool things during this new moon, from 20 years ago, like really amazing stuff that I love this new moon so much because there's just so much available. So, you guys, there is an amazing opportunity before you to understand. And I think if you've ever been invited to an Aurelia workshop, she always said at the end of her invitations, like before the RSVP, is like something really important to bring is an open mind. And, it looks so cute seeing that, especially if you know her and you just think this is really adorable. But actually now I understand what it means. Like 50 years later, I totally understand now what this actually means. Like to actually bring an open mind. So I'm going to forward that onto everyone listening here, past, present, and future. Before we proceed, let's have an open mind because this is Aquarius we're talking about here. So there's a lot of things outside of the box. And in light of also this year of me guiding you guys to get out of your box, that's really what this is about. This new moon on top of it's like an extra boost to like maybe just look outside of the box first, which is an amazing step. So all you have to do is bring the open mind. So with that said, I think it's very interesting because um, for me, when I understood what is an open mind and also generally what we tend to think about when we're having an open mind is a lot of lofty ideas. I have an open mind about about meditation, or I have an open mind about acupuncture, or I have an open mind about cryptocurrency, or I have an open mind about a different political candidate. Oh no, that's going too far. But I have an open mind about, living in a different city or in a different country, or I have an open mind about certain things. But really, what is an open mind? An open mind is, the challenge with this is like the small things, having an open mind with the small things. For example, you listen to someone that you just can't stand. Someone who just is like really getting on your nerves. Someone, we all have these people in our life, someone who's really bothering us. To try having an open mind with that person. That's really what having an open mind is about. Having an open mind to seeing things in a good way. Having an open mind to seeing things as useful, even if they're not, even if your ego doesn't like it. Having an open mind to being wrong. Okay. So the open mind is not only applying to these lofty things that kind of are like a reflection of vanity to how great I can think, but really seeing where do I need to open my mind to this petty situation that I've gotten myself, that my closed mind has gotten me into. So this is very, very important in understanding what this new moon is offering us, and how much light that we can receive, because the new moon is a moon that's void of light. So we can determine through that 28 and a half or 29-day cycle, lunar cycle, of the quality and the quantity of light that we can receive if we hitch it onto that cycle. Now, each and every one of us is a vessel for light. We can channel light. And the quantity and the quality of how much light that we can receive is depending on our desire, and of course the size of our vessel, which is dependent on our desire. Now, for example, the light that comes in is coming through these different filters. It's coming through